Sometimes I do introductions and sometimes I don't. Let's see what we're going to come up with today.
I don't need an introduction. Yeah.
That's the best. Listen, I don't need an introduction.
If they want to know, they can just check me out.
Just check me out. So welcome to this podcast show with Jyske, or Hira, I should say, right?
You should.
Yeah, you should.
And actually now it changed into Hira.
Hira. But, I mean, that's... Okay, that I can live with. Hira.
Exactly.
So I'm sitting here at the table with Hira. We know each other for like 22 years, we just found out, right? Or even longer.
Longer, because then we were living together.
Yeah.
So...
Done a lot of things together. Used to have like a group of friends hanging out in the Vondelpark, right?
Yeah.
Among other places.
Yeah.
And smoking a lot of joints. Can we say that in the show or not?
We have to.
We have to.
Truth.
There's no way around it. Smoking a lot of joints, having a lot of creative flows going all directions. And so here we are, 22 years or something later.
Yeah.
You're living in Egypt.
Yeah.
And you're on vacation here now. And I'm super happy to see you. I got all excited. Yeah, Jyske's coming.
Yeah.
How's life, Jyske?
Wow. It's a roller coaster, and at the same time, I feel more peaceful than I've ever been. So I can handle the roller coasters. I enjoy them. I allow them, and it's that internal alchemical how do you say that? Internal alchemical process of really being able to even transform emotions or physical ailments or mental obsessions or I can kind of like really hold space for them now and then transform them. So maybe it's also my age, obviously, 20 years ago I couldn't. I was just in the rush, and then I would just be, I don't know, find myself 3 weeks later in a place where I would be like, how did I end up here? Yeah.
What surprises you the most about yourself?
I would say because it's funny, because we have been doing some exchanges like this over the years. And I remember you asked me this question as well, like a few years back. Like
really?
Maybe, in the park. And you were like going in and out with the camera. It was amazing. And I was saying, like, I'm like a timeline cultivator, changing machine, that when you connect to me, like, you can all of a sudden go drive the infinite possibilities of, I'm still that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was something with the screen, right, that you can project all kind of things. I like those are really nice videos, actually. I really like that. Yeah. I think this is also what characterizes our friendship, and how you do things, how I do things, is the flow. It's just bring it on, let's do it, and let's see what comes out. Let's kind of like channel whatever needs to come through, right?
Yeah, and that's actually very Tao. So we have been very Tao from the beginning. Just we didn't have the words for it. It's really like just allowing the flow. And that when the flow is there, you do things, but you don't do things. So it's not with willpower or with stress that you do things. It's more like you feel a longing or an urge, if you want. And then you start to move with that, and then it becomes something. And so the more space that you can hold for it, the more potent and the more intense and the more, creative the flow becomes. So
nice.
Yeah.
And what are you doing at the moment, Jyske? What are you doing at the moment?
Well, I'm teaching or guiding people into this sexual kung fu. And for the last 10 years, I've been doing a lot of like workshops. So all kinds of workshops, because I was a little hesitant to start the sexual kung fu. I thought, I'm not, I'm not trained enough, or I'm not safe enough, or, all kinds of things. And then my guidance said, just write down on the paper all the things you've done in the last 10 years, teach-wise, like how many workshops, how many places you've been, how many hundreds or thousands of people you've reached, all these things. And then I started seeing, wow, I did this, I did this, I did, and I was like, wow, if you just see the energy of that, not like the ego thing, but more like, wow, if you see the energy of what I've already been guiding people into, this is a joke. I can really handle it.
This is a joke. But sexual kung fu, tell me, Yuska, how did you get into sexual kung fu?
Yeah, it's funny because, as I said, I did a lot of things, like Merkaba, you've done the workshop, 10 years ago. Activation of the Merkaba light body, living in the heart, going into the heart meditations. Then I did 10 years in the Zen temple as a Zen nun, really practicing quite regularly and strongly and disciplined. And then after that, it's like, what did I do after? Yeah, 5 years of Tantra, like intense training also. So I thought, after all that training, I know everything, and my two sisters, my blood sisters said, there's this course, it's in Dutch, and it's called Valley Orgasm. And I was like, okay, Valley Orgasm, that sounds interesting. But I arrogantly thought, I know everything, right? Yeah. So, and I just really wanted to have a connection with my sisters. So basically I did it to be with my family, basically. I was like, oh yeah, I'll help them.
yeah.
On their journey. Yeah. And then boom,
And then what happened?
Well, it's 4 years ago. So I noticed that, for example, to speak about sexuality without charge was quite challenging, because especially with sisters, you're very personal, you're very close as a family, but are you going to tell your sister, I mean, you don't have brothers and sisters, but are you going to tell them the details of, I don't know, your sexual desires or what's coming up, all these things? But my sisters were doing actually quite well. They were like, this and this boy and this man and whatever, like my husband and, all these things. And I was like, oh my God, I felt really no, I'm very private actually. I'm very, private, I would say. So already in the beginning, I noticed, for them it's easy to share. And for me, it's much more difficult. And I was also like, I'm not sure if I want to hear all the details. These are my sisters, very interesting. And then slowly, I started with one of my sisters. We decided to be a coach of that. So it's called Valley Orgasm. In Dutch, it's called Vallei online. And so we both became coach. And then you have to start teaching it, right? So it's another level where you really learn. Like when you start teaching it, that's what they say in Tao. At the moment you start to transmit something, that's when you actually receive the teaching. You think that you're already doing it and understanding it, but when you start teaching, it comes from, it comes from you. You offer it to someone, and then when you receive what has been offered to them, then you actually start to understand what it is. So then I started to really understand, like, whoa, okay, this is something really different than what I thought.
And what? So in the beginning, they asked you to join, and you said, "Okay, I'll join my sisters to help them out." And then you got in this. Then you came to. Can you tell me a little bit about this first experience you had? Like, what happened there? What's going? Like, what is it all about?
Well, yeah, it's.
Are you sitting with a group of women and you're all having orgasms?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I imagine, right? The Valley Orgasm.
Yeah, like all these screaming women everywhere. Well, if that's your fantasy, then enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite the opposite, because I thought the same. I was like, sexual kung fu, it sounds so exciting and it sounds so... But actually, it's kind of the opposite. It really goes through, the one that I followed. So it goes through Reinhard Edeveld. So he's a Tao trainer since 30 years, I don't know, a long time. And he set up this... he started this organization, and he set up a Tao school, mystery school. And so his point of view is really safety. So everything revolves around and evolves around safety. Like if you don't feel safe, he doesn't want you to take the second step and the third step and the fourth step. So safety is like all the way down into the grain of the teachings is safety. So you have to feel safe. So I noticed that in the beginning, the practices started. The practice is self-love, self-cultivation, you could say. Mono-cultivation, self-cultivation, which means touching yourself, basically. But not directly like masturbation. Masturbation is something different. So masturbation would be that you are discovering, which there's nothing against it, but you would be discovering, where are my buttons? What do I like? What do I don't like? That's the first phase. And then the second phase is with someone else. So you discover who is the other. Usually in our society, sexuality stops there. Starts there, stops there. And in the Tao, they teach a third and a fourth phase, which is called mono-cultivation and dual-cultivation. So it's really about mono-cultivation in the sense of self-love. It's like usually you're around 45, actually, when it starts. So before that, nice for you, but you're probably not mature enough. So there's something about you have already lived quite a life, 45, right? By the way, it doesn't mean that people, I have friends that are 25, 30 and they start this course, so it's not excluded. It's just, if people of 25 and 30 are interested, I say chapeau, because it means they are mature enough to even want to do it. Because usually people are so self-taken and they think the same like I did. I know everything, so I don't need to know anything more. I know sex, I know everything. I'm the best one. I enjoy it, this, that, whatever. So they're not really open for that third and fourth phase in that sense. And that one really starts and ends with yourself in your own space, usually with the door locked. So why is that? Because it's not with the partner. Why is that? Not because it's bad with the partner, but if you are not alone in that absolute intimacy of safety with yourself, then you can't actually explore and discover what we're actually after. Because we're not after for fantasies or sexual explorations with another. We're after sexual explorations in the sense of what's there, what's blocking my flow. Because basically, as we were talking about flow, it's like the streaming of the flow is in between infinite potential and this manifested world. Like the manifested world, everything we can feel, see, sense, hear, and then infinite potential, which means endless possibilities. So in between there is what we call the inner landscape. So you need to be aware of what is happening in your inner landscape, especially nowadays people are just so outwards going, phones, everything has to be outwards, that inwards, they usually, even if they get up until here, they're scared already. It's like, oh, the heart is there. No, that's fine, I'll stay in my head. But you have to go through your body into your heart, to feel the love, to feel connection. And then, hopefully, you're able to go into your belly. And in your belly, there is the vitality, there is the power, there is that personal power that you need to actually go back up in the heart and go and spiritually awaken in that sense. So a lot of people are stuck here, and they are not present, let's say, in their body. So if I would say to you, okay, now breathe into your left little toe, you probably are able to do it, but a lot of people aren't. So they're like, oh, my left down toe, yeah, right, how do I want to breathe into that? Because they're just used of being present in the head. So yeah, so it was a whole discovery until I came to the point of like, okay, this is interesting, very interesting.
Okay, so what I have, Juske, is I'm hearing you and it sounds super interesting, but it stays kind of vague, okay. Very abstract. So, what was the reason that you felt while you were there? Oh, this is something new. Like, what exactly did that feel like? Or did you feel yourself in a certain way? Or did you experience? Like, what was actually new there to you? How did you experience that?
It was like everything. It was like a 180-degree turn into how I was seeing life, like literally. Because like 95% of our energy in the way that we make decisions has to do with our sexual energy. And it's an energy that we not normally have access to directly. We have it with partners, maybe some experience with ourselves, but we feel ashamed of it because, I just touched myself or whatever. So there is this direct connection in between you and your sexuality. There's not much of it. So there is a lot of energy, 95% of your energy in the way you view the world, the way you view yourself, the way you take decisions, what you think, what you feel on a daily basis, on a second-by-second basis, has to do with how you perceive yourself in the sense of how connected you are to your sexuality. So when you start working with it, then everything starts to change. Like you become more open, you become more allowing, you become more like, if I do something from willpower, it actually gets into my shoulders, or it gets the stress into my adrenals. You learn like, like the way that I have been doing things in society and the way I've been learned to do things is actually harmful for my body and harmful for everybody around me. I destruct things the way that I've learned to do things.
Can you give me an example of this?
Yeah, in Holland we have this expression where we say, put your shoulders under it, and then it will go, just, do your best, because then...
like push through and you will get there.
And then you'll get it. So that's what everybody's doing. They're like going over their boundaries, their voluntary boundaries, which is the holy ground for a Taoist, voluntary boundaries. And you just push through, and you keep pushing through. Why do you think there's like 1 on 3 women nowadays, men I don't know, but they're slowly following up in burnout? Why is burnout such a big thing? Because everybody is going over their voluntary boundaries, and they don't even know that they went over it. It's like 1,000 kilometers over it, and then they're like, somewhere I lost a turn, or I don't know, I feel so tired. Why would I didn't do anything today, or whatever. And it's a physical tension that almost everyone now is suffering from chronic stress.
So if these people come to you now, what is exactly, how do you work with them? What is it that they're learning? How do they get to feel themselves differently?
They have to start practicing. So that's what I will tell them. I say sexual kung fu, that means maximum 3 times a week. You have to have 20 minutes, 30 minutes with yourself and practice, self-cultivate. Now, once you have done that, because it's not all of it, once you have done that, after that, you bring the energy to the back of your body. You bring it through the 4 pumps. There's 4 pumps in your body. So you bring that sexual energy, you refine it in what we call the Ming Meng, which is the gate of life. So you refine that sexual energy because there's stuff there that you don't want in your brain, basically. You refine it, then you bring it through your back, which is, the back is like, in our society, it's all about the front. Am I pretty enough? Am I this? And the heart and this and that connection. We forget about our back. We think, the back is the back. It's not important. But actually in the Tao, the back is your health machine. It's what creates health. Why? Because it pumps up all this energy into your brain. And then in your brain, you create medicine, literally medicine. You could call it innocence, you can call it the golden light, you can call it nectar. So many traditions have so many names for it, but let's just call it medicine, which I'm not even allowed to use that word, but I'm going to use it anyway. So you're producing something very specific in your body, and then it goes in the channel down, goes into your belly, and you start to make a reserve of it. So all of a sudden you start to have energy. What do you do with that energy? Anything you want. But at a certain point there will be more energy, and all of a sudden you start to feel better. You start to have a beautiful glow around you. People say, I don't know what's happening to you, but it looks like you're in love. And you're like, yeah, I'm in love with myself. It's a complete 180-degree turn, really. It's a complete different approach to life than what we are used to in the West. We're harming our bodies, we're harming ourselves, we're harming our environment. Look around in the world, we are burning up. It's like, it's not almost 12 o'clock, we are far beyond it in the world view. Like, how are we going to solve all this? So many problems. So why is that? Because everybody goes over their boundaries, everybody is not feeling full. So everybody's trying to steal resources and I don't know what from each other, land, families, whatever. Like everybody's trying to steal it because they don't feel full. So they're trying to get their sexual desire, because it has to do all with your sexual desire. They're trying to feel full by grabbing, stealing, money, sex, power, whatever, control. And then they're trying to hold on to it, and then they think they're going to be, what, happy? So it's really like, I want basically everybody to start doing Kung Fu. Everybody. Like within one generation, if we would seriously start practicing this, within one generation, all the problems would be solved. I feel it. I'm not saying, oh, this is like this. I feel that as a truth.
So basically what I hear you say, maybe Yusuke, is that we're hunting all kind of things from the outside, but actually all that we are all that we are missing, we can fill ourselves with from within. Mm-hmm. And it's even worth more. Like first of all, it lies closer to what we think. It's all inside. And it's a matter of like being aware of this source of love, source of energy, to actually fill ourselves, to be happy, spread more love, spread more energy with each other, understand ourselves and each other better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a tune that we can all tune into. I'm just like...
Well, it needs training. So it's not just, oh, I can sit on my couch and that's it. I understand now the Tao, you know? Like, no. You have to train, and when you start training, you will find where you are harmed. You will find your wounds. You will find where you feel not good enough. You will find all these things. But the beauty of this practice is that you're creating new medicine, new innocence all the time. So instead of going backwards and saying, I need to heal this, I need to heal my inner child, I need to heal this wound, you say, no, that's fine. I will actually create so much new innocence, new creativity, new flow, that I will heal on the way. I don't need to look back. I can just look forward and then kind of lean, as we say in the Tao, you lean back in a safe future. So, and then when you lean back in a safe future, you see, feel, sense the past in front of you. You can just see it changing. So there is a very different feeling to it that for sure it needs training. But once you start the training, you start to move, you start to change, sometimes very much, very fast, sometimes very slow, because it's about slowing down, basically. Eh? The training is about slowing down. Can you slow down so much that energy is just going to flow through you and then brings you to places like, how did I sit here? How did we meet? How is it that after 25 years we're still really good friends? Like, how is that possible? That's
with
flow.
Having as much as no contact whatsoever.
We don't need
whenever
it.
we meet,
Bam!
we're back there again.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
as if I saw you yesterday, as if we lived together yesterday.
Just to mention, like, we haven't had contact for a couple of years, maybe?
No, we saw each other with Eldad, remember? Like, that was, I think, 1-2 years ago.
But then again, in that meantime, we don't have contact at all.
Yeah, but it's not like we don't need it.
No, true.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Yeah.
But it's like, what brings us together? It's a flow. Like, we've always had that. Work, meaning, can we change the world? You've always had that incredible, like, curiosity of things. Like, can I put it on movies? Can I share it? Can I, always. And I've always been like, yeah, I have so much to share. And I come with something new, and you're like, okay, put it down. We've always had that. Yeah. It's always been very creative. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not like you find me and I find you. It's like, our flow just makes bomb, and then it just creates. So is it you creating? Is it me creating? No, it's happening, right? Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's like you will be filled up with so much creative flow, so much energy that you will be hardly to hold yourself, because you're like, you're so excited about life, about doing things, meeting people, connections, and then it's not about the result. Yeah. It's not about the result. It's like about that connection. It's about the process. It's about the creativity. It's about what's coming out. Creation. Yeah. And then beautiful things happen. Yeah. But it's not as result-driven and goal-driven as we are in the West, where you have a list of to-do things. And then if the first 3 to-do things are not happening, you feel guilty because... and then, of course, after, 20 years of to-do lists, you're just like, dead on the couch, because... It doesn't work like that. You just spilled all your energy into something that doesn't work.
And what does work?
Leaning back, allowing that flow to just bring it to you. And of course, it's not only leaning back on, like a potato couch.
But it's letting go of control, actually. It's letting something else
It's like you
be
can
in
have
control.
the longing. So we both have the longing. So the longing brings us together. And then we do, of course, we do. We're both active persons, people. So, we move, we do things. But it's not, I move because my head said that I should meet Laerke because it's a good plan that would be... Then
fuck that plan.
Exactly. Thank you.
There's another plan working and we're just following that shit.
There you go.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't... If you do it like that, you will lose all your energy.
So, my dear Juske, how do you enrich the world?
Well, by training these types of things and then showing them, like... It's not like... of course, I use myself as a visitekaartje, how you say. I use myself as a...
Business card?
As a business card. I say, okay, yeah, look at me.
Oh, like, that's cool. Wait. You use yourself as a business card.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How are you your own business card?
Well, I've learned quite early that when people come to a teacher, now I don't identify with the whole word or the whole energy of teacher anymore. But I understood quite fast that people don't come for what I teach. They come for my vibration. They come for the vibration that I bring out. And they feel there's something there. They don't know. They can't put their finger on it, but there's something there they want to learn. So, or experience. Or just, I don't know, have fun. Or whatever, whatever is there.
It's the high energy, it's the vibration.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
So, something bubbling, something, So for some people, that is really like, they feel that and they want to connect to that. For other people, it's the opposite. They will see me and they will just spit me out immediately. Like, oh my God, this one, no. Which I don't mind. I have it since I'm very young, so I don't care. But I'm kind of like my own business card in that sense. Because, I don't know, like the way that I live is not really normal. The way I think has never been normal. The way I feel and the way that I go about my life has never been really normal. So when people start to ask about my life or the stories I tell, then something happens, something clicks. And also, I mean, I'm 50, huh? And of course, I look like 20, so.
And you feel like 20. That's so cool. Hey, but Juske, so has it always been like that? Or have you also had a period in your life where you felt lost or like on the wrong track or didn't understand?
I still feel lost even today. But as I said, like I can carry that within me. It's like the lost parts within me, the lost children within me. I call them sometimes my frozen children. There's like these children, these parts in me that I can recognize in everybody, where we feel lost. And I mean, wouldn't you feel lost? Look at the world. Like, it's so disconnected from the heart. It's so driven, mind-driven, so result-driven. So, I don't know, you have to make, I don't know how much money per month. If not, you cannot even survive in this world. I would prefer that we live in communities and we all take care of each other. Like, we don't need to be hippie. I don't care about hippies, but it's a good example where people take care of people and that's about it. So if you don't feel lost in today's world, good for you. But it would be a normal result of the way that the world is built, right? So when that part comes up, feeling lost, feeling not enough, feeling whatever, I just go with it. I say, I hear you. I feel you. You can completely be here. And it used to be, before I started Tantra, Tao, all these things, I used to try to shove it away, suppress it. Like, oh, no, I feel good. Yeah, how are you? Yeah, I feel fine. And then what? Like, I would have strong anger, strong rage coming out. And I would be like, where is this rage coming from? That's exactly what we call in Tao suppression. So what we try to do is like, on one side you have suppression, where you're saying, I shouldn't be taking drugs and I shouldn't have, sex all day with 3 men and 4 women and I don't know, you name it. So you suppress that side because that's bad, let's say. Then on the other side, you have unlimited freedom. So this is what's happening in our society now. We have unlimited freedom. We believe that we know everything about sexuality because all the genders are okay. You can use toys, not toys. Everybody's talking about it. It's everywhere. Even if they, I don't know, they sell some clothes, it's all sex everywhere. So we believe that we are unlimited, free. But actually we're not. Because when you really look at what's happening is that this is harmful. Suppression is harmful. Unlimited freedom is extremely harmful because you just go over your boundaries. You don't even know where they are anymore. So what we're trying to do in the Tao is to embrace them both and then to sit with them both. So let's say we were just starting with the one who feels lost, but you can also say, let's start with the dark feminine, because there's the white feminine and the dark feminine. From ages back, they were together still. So let's say the dark feminine that goes, sensual and sexual and, all these things, magnetic and all these things. Let's say I say to her, you're good, you're fine, you give me energy, I love you, you can be here, but I'm not acting out on it. Means I'm not going to seduce whoever I want to seduce. So I stay with it, it's there. Then the unlimited freedom would be like, I don't care. If this person, let's say I feel attracted to someone, then this one would say, I don't care if this person is married, not married, I'm going to go and have what I want. But then obviously you're harmful for that person and the whole family around that person, if the person is married, let's say. I know that nowadays people don't even think like this anymore, that I'm like a dinosaur when it comes to marriage, but I've been married for 20 years, so this is the way I think. So it's like, these two are harmful, but I allow them. So I allow this one to express towards myself. I allow the unlimited potential and freedom to express itself towards myself, and I don't act. I do not do anything. I sit. I allow it to express. And I allow it to express. And how much ever time I need, I'm going to sit with these two parts. Now, when you sit with it and you don't act, it's the same like holding a bar of chocolate. You don't act. You really want to eat that bar of chocolate. You have it in your hand, so it's really seductive and it's really tempting because, oh my God, I'm holding the chocolate. But you're not eating it. You're just holding it. What happens when you do that? Something starts to move. And at a certain point, you will take a decision from wisdom, not from seduction or unlimited, like harmful thoughts or feelings.
Sugar addiction or whatever.
No, you just, maybe one day you will say, I can have a little bit. Great, maybe I need some cacao, whatever. On another day you will say, I feel strong today. I'm going to put it away and then, it's in my closet. I can have it anytime and leave it. Another day, maybe you have no control whatsoever and you eat the whole chocolate bar and afterwards you feel actually your liver really feels sick. So then you're like, no, this is fine. I've had it now. I will not do it again because I don't feel good. But I'm not saying like don't eat the chocolate or eat the chocolate. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying sit with it.
It's just not doing things on automatic pilot, right?
It's allowing yourself to feel the feeling. Sometimes when I do that, holding the chocolate, I literally do it. And sometimes I feel that desire for that chocolate is more exquisite than actually eating it. I'm like, wow.
Okay, so wait a second. So now, okay. So basically what I hear you say now is exactly that excitement or...
There you go.
And that power,
the desire.
You can translate into other things instead of eating the chocolate.
There you go.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the same goes for sex. And the same goes for suppression. And the same goes for unlimited potential or, let's say, unlimited freedom. You can, instead of acting out on those or suppressing it, like not acting out, but suppressing it way deep down, you can say, you can be here. Because that energy is going to fuel all of your creative projects. But you can't allow it to just act out on it. So you can't eat that chocolate every day all the time because you will just get sick. But when you hold it and you feel that exquisite desire for that chocolate, you're like, oh, something happens.
So it's actually, but what does that energy act on? What awakes that energy?
Yeah, that's the jing. That's what we call the jing. The jing is your sexual energy. And the jing is actually what gives you energy for all the other things.
But right now, so at this point, I'm not aware of my sexual energy, right?
Okay.
But that's another question. Why is it even called sexual energy? Anyway, there's an energy.
Okay.
And that flows inside me and inside every one of us. Mm-hmm. And right now, that energy gets clear. So it has to do with desire for something, right? Or not always?
I would call it a longing.
Longing.
Because there's a difference in between desire and longing.
Okay, so it's a desire that gets awoken between me and something or someone or myself in best case scenario, right? To start with, it's actually... Okay, so you're using the exercises to understand the energy within yourself first.
Yes.
But actually, the fact that when I have a chocolate in front of my eyes and I feel the desire, that's just pure that energy. Right now, it's projected on a piece of chocolate.
Exactly.
But I can say
pure energy that you can use.
Yeah. So basically, okay.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the chocolate. It's the trigger point of. It's actually how I experience that energy with I have a chocolate. But okay, interesting.
It's kind of saying like, can I embrace those? It's how you say? It's called a field of tension.
Oh, okay.
It's literally it's a field of tension. So it's black and white, good and bad, whatever. Suppression and unlimited freedom. So it's fields of tension. So, and we all have it. Like I want that, but I also don't want that. Usually with a desire, there's the desire, but there's also the not wanting it because you know that it's maybe not good and da. Or you feel guilty about it, whatever. So there's that desire, but there's also this other pole. Now, if you can hold those, and there are so many, there's an infinite amount of this, huh? I'm just talking about chocolate now, but there's whatever.
I can come up with a few, yes, okay.
Exactly. The field of tension.
Yeah.
Now, usually we feel a little stressed about fields of tension because one time we choose that one time we choose that one.
Yeah, you're not in control.
You're not in control and you're harming yourself and the ones you love and the greater whole. So can you hold the field of tension? And then from that, there will be a third force that is going to arise from within you, wisdom. And then from that wisdom, you will act, you will go out. And you will do something that is not harming you or the other or the greater cause.
And in control, because you understand it, so you can use it in the right way,
exactly.
Right?
And it's not that you're in control, because in control is that whole society, the way that we have, you have to be in control, you have to do this, and goal-oriented and all this willpower, no. So it has nothing to do with control. It's really literally just holding that field of tension. Can you hold it long enough so that something comes out? Sometimes with me, when I sit in that field of tension, sometimes I sit in it for days. It doesn't mean that I'm sitting and I'm not moving. It can be a field of tension and I say to myself, I know you want that. And I know that you also don't want that. Let's sit with it for a few days. Then for a few days, it goes into my being, let's say, and then I have a friend that calls me that exactly on that subject that I'm sitting with, or some information comes by and I'm like, bam, that's exactly what I needed. So then slowly that puzzle is opening. It's really literally like opening. The whole field is opening for me. No, even more opening. And then once I'm in it and I see it, I can really, from that opening and that wisdom, I can say, wow, this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm doing it without even deciding. It's just happening.
Then it's within the flow, probably, right?
Like, I'm not even doing anything. It's just happening.
Okay. And how come, Juske, it's called sexual energy?
Well, you have, in the Tao, you have 3 different bodies, basically. You have the Jing, the one I just talked about. Like, that is your sexual energy. That's the most powerful one. Like in the Tao, for example, it is predicted with or depicted with, described with dragons. So you have this huge dragon, and then on the tail of the dragon, this tiny little human that's trying to hold the dragon. Yeah. I'm riding my dragon. Well, it doesn't really look like it. Good luck.
He does this and you're powerful.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's an incredible power that we have. What happens in society? We suppress it, or we get taken into it and we just get lost. So that is your Jing, and the Jing basically gives you energy. So this is what we are doing in that internal alchemy. You take that Jing and you transform it into medicine. When it's refined, you bring it to the belly. Now, when you have it in the belly, it's pure Jing. So that means that you have enough energy to get up. You have enough energy to feel happy that you're alive. You're not depressed. You have enough energy, whatever's. You have enough energy, because a lot of people nowadays lack energy. They're like, I wish I could do this and that, but they just don't have the energy or the creativity to do it. Now, when you have enough of it, it starts to steam, literally steam up in your second body, which is your Qi body. Again, Qi is also energy. That's why it's a little difficult to talk about sometimes. But it's also energy, but it's more refined. So it's also life force, but this one is not connected directly to your sexual energy. This one is life force in the sense of, for example, when you open your heart to someone, you feel a lot of energy, a lot of opening, a lot of beauty, a lot of confidence, a lot of all kinds of things. That is pure life force, just as well as the Jing, but less heavy, less dense, more refined. Now, obviously, if you have a lot of that energy, you're also happy, but maybe you miss the Jing to actually sustain it. Because this, sometimes, let's say you're opening your heart to someone, but then a few days later, this person says, bye, I gotta go, I gotta do this and that. All of a sudden, boom, your heart closes and you're like, oh my God, this person doesn't love me. And then all these movies start, So then you're losing a lot of your energy, a lot of your Qi, basically. Then, how are you going to find it again? You have to go and find it in the Jing, because that's the one that fuels the Qi. Now, you have from here, you have a third body, you could say, that is called the Shen. So the Shen is really the most refined. It's actually, so here it's pure energy. Here it's love and connection, like universal love, universal connection. And here it's Shen means silence. So this one, as the Taoists say, I cannot say anything about it because it's silence. So if I would say something about it, you shouldn't take me serious. They always say, the Taoists say, if there is a master or a teacher or a guide, they call them Sifu. If there's a Sifu that talks about this experience or this body, don't take them serious because it's silence. So
it's consciousness.
If I say it like this, now you got it.
You saw that thing?
Yeah. But if I say it's silence, already it's not.
Yeah, any words is too little of too not describable enough.
Sense. Yeah.
Only makes it smaller.
Yeah.
Only makes it.
It doesn't even get to the core of it.
Okay.
It's an incredible body. So you're steaming energy, pure life force, sexual energy. You're steaming it, of course, in that it's called a microcosmic orbit. So it goes in the back, creating medicine. It really literally is called microcosmic orbit. When you have enough of it and you have collected enough of it, which usually takes a few months, or if you were in a really bad state and the body was in a bad state, maybe a year or something like that. But after some training, some people have it instantly. I have friends that started. They did one time the homework and they were like jumping, stuiteren. How you say stuiteren? Like
bouncing around.
Bouncing around in the house. And they're like, oh my God. So it can go very fast. You don't need months.
I look forward to that.
Exactly.
Bring it on!
You're already a bouncer, so good luck with that.
Yeah. I'll meet you in space.
Exactly. Where's Laerke? Well, she started sexual kung fu, and ever since
we haven't seen her anymore.
Yeah. She doesn't.
Once in a while, she's like, boom, and then she's gone again.
She doesn't speak anymore.
Yeah.
You're like,
oh, that would be great.
Yeah. But anyway, so it damps up in the heart, right? And then it damps or steams up in the head. Now, when this starts to work, you have the 5 types of consciousness. So really, like, you really start to get more in that realized sense of being. Then the glow comes. So you have a beautiful glow around you, very soft, very, just beautiful. Like, and then when that starts to open, then this starts to open. Now, when this starts to open, you start to really get into the mastery levels of, realization, enlightenment, and beyond, ascension, all these things. So
how many people reach that level within life?
I would say it's not that hard.
Okay.
It's not, it's not like the Taoists say, which I did completely wrong. So I went Merkaba Melchizedek, and then Tantra, Tibetan Tantra, and then I went to the Tao. So my Sifu said, oh my God, you did everything completely the opposite, and you did the most dangerous things that you can imagine for a Taoist. It's a miracle you're still alive. That's what he said. And I was like, why? And he was like, yeah, you did it all the way, the wrong way. Normally, you should train 60% of your Jing, 30% of your heart opening, and then 10% only of spiritual awakening. So, for example, people that are like, I don't know, taking ayahuasca every, 2 weeks or whatever, they open completely here. So they have amazing spiritual understandings and connections and everything. And then they come home and then they need to integrate it. Of course they can't. They're like, I learned so much. What did you learn? Can you describe it? And they're like, I saw okay. Nothing against ayahuasca, by the way, because that, when I was living here in Amsterdam, I did it also. So I know what it is. I have nothing against the plant or anything like that, but I haven't taken anything for 15 years and I feel very good. I don't need it. So you can be completely open. This is what's happening to a lot of New Age people. It's like they're all the way open here or they're all the way open here, and they're like, I live in my heart and everything, love and light and everything. But then when you go down, they're completely disconnected. They're like, they don't even know with how much shadow and pain and wounds they're walking around. They think they're just,
enlightened.
Perfect. Enlightened, yeah.
What made you listen to this guy?
Well, it was really funny because he used to be a market salesman in the Dappermarkt, and in other markets. Yeah. So he says things like "bam," like he uses words I heard when I was a child. That my grandfather would use when he would be trying to explain something very elaborated or very, so he uses these elaborated words, but in a way that it's like a farmer or anybody can actually understand. So he translates the highest concepts into the most down-to-earth concepts for people to understand everywhere. And then he does it with a huge amount of humor. Because sometimes he says, this is sexual kung fu, I have to sell it. Because, how do people actually want to know that you are having, orgasmic, sure. If you go in the valley orgasm, like you can have orgasm like this, and orgasm there, and orgasm like this, people come. But if you're going to explain
people come!
Yeah, exactly, literally.
They come, and they come.
Yeah, multi-orgasmic. Yeah. So this aspect people want to listen, obviously. But if you go like, you have 4 pumps in your back, and you have, you have to do it like this and that, it gets kind of technical. People don't listen. So the way that he has brought it for me was to hear someone in my own language, because usually all the teachings I've been following the last 20 years or more have always been in English or French, and this man is like Dutch, and then when we connected, oh my God, it was like he was the same. He was like, wow, what comes into my office now? And me the same, like, wow, like this guy is Dutch, like it's incredible. So we really found each other there. So what attracted me is that he's extremely down to earth. He says it like it is. Like when he met me, he said, you're stuck in your infantile strategies. And I was like, infantile strategies? Like, as if...
Didn't even know I have them. I'm pretty lost in there, yes.
Yeah, I was like, what? But I'm, spiritual and I've been trained and this and that, And he was like, no, like this, like your sexuality is infantile, you need to train 3 times a week at least for, So I was like, okay, so this guy didn't, he was not impressed at all. And I love that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this, amazing.
Yeah, that is cool.
Just give it to me.
Yeah,
like,
you can learn something new, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Infantile strategies. And this is what most people nowadays do. We're like little kids all lost in the world. There is hardly any wise people left in our world. Like, look around. Where can you find, like really wise people? Like, and wisdom doesn't grow because you're growing older. It's not the people that are 80 or 90 that all of a sudden they are very wise. Yes, they have wisdom from their life. They are, more quiet and more peaceful. But it could
be the wrong wisdom too, right?
But it could be also the wrong wisdom. That doesn't mean that they're wise.
Yeah.
Like, wisdom means like, someone that really has that understanding and that compassion and that, broad view, that expanded awareness, that presence, that all these things,
That takes kind of everything into consideration, right? It's like, and that's what you're saying, like,
there's no judgment there. There's, presence. There's just,
It's just what we do with it. It's like embracing the whole thing and then directing it the right directions.
Yeah.
Mistakes are made here and there, but it can be guided back.
We all do.
Yeah, nice.
So it was really like we all live with these infantile strategies, but we're not aware of it because we're so full of ourselves. But we're not also aware of how empty we actually feel inside. So if you're going to say to someone, okay, now for a whole day, just put your phone away and just sit by yourself on your couch. People will not even be able to do it 5 minutes. They will go absolutely insane. Because they... And that is wisdom. Wisdom means, can you sit with yourself and allow the feelings to be felt? Allow the thoughts to be heard, and still at the same time understand that your true nature is that silence, that your true nature is that stillness, that spaciousness, where nothing ever really happens anyway, that it's a dream, right? So when we are focused on the outside and we're constantly focused on doing, when you say to someone like that, now put your phone away for one day, sit, don't do anything. They get confronted with so many things that, people like you and I have been working on for the last, 25 years, 30 years? So I'm not saying like, oh, you're not wise if you haven't worked on yourself. Somehow wisdom can also grow from you when you're not working on yourself, but just by going inside of your inner landscape and then activate things there, because that's what the Tao does. It's like you go in your inner landscape, which is a different world, and you activate certain points and energy points, you could say, in the body, and you can start to use what we call the I force. This I force you can use to clean the inside of your body, clear it, to purify it, to activate it, to cultivate it, to energize it. You can do so many things in your inner landscape. There's so many channels, chakras, openings, flowing. When you have the right flowing within yourself, then, when everything is aligned and is open, and there is no more all these blockages inside, infantile strategies, you have released them, you understand that you don't need to have an identity, you don't need to have a mask, you can just leave it all, you don't need to be a person, you can just be in the Tao or in the flow or in the energy, then you're free. So, but there's quite some cleaning to do.
It did remind me at some point when you were talking that around, I think 3 years ago, I stopped smoking cigarettes. I don't know, at some point I was just done with it. I tried to stop a few times, but then suddenly I was just done. The emotions that came up, the personalities of myself, of not having patience, like all the emotions, feeling like sad about this little thing, angry about this little thing, overly excited about this thing, like all the suppression that the smoking had done, or had worked for.
Yeah.
Or worked for, is that the good word? But for like 3 weeks, I was a complete hell of a person towards myself, towards other people. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Imagine all this, that this smoking has just... Suppressed.
Yeah.
And how free it is to be off it. Now, I couldn't consider having even one, no.
Yeah, but
never
same for
again.
me,
Yeah.
I've smoked a long time in my life. Yeah.
And we're sitting
And
with
that's-
shagged, thinking
I know,
that you would
right?
smoke
It's
less.
always, I know. No, it's crazy. But the funny thing for me is that it also disappeared because of the sexual kung fu. Because what the sexual kung fu does is that it actually gives to your brain the input that you're looking for when you're smoking. When you're smoking, you're looking for a kick in the brain that gives you that idea of like, I'm happy that I'm alive. But once you have the energy streaming by itself, you don't need like cigarettes or anything like that. So it really helps with addictions. So, you know, sexual kung fu is good for a lot of things, but also it will diminish your addictive behavior, as well as you'll start to feel more connection to your sexual energy, your sexual feelings. You will start to feel more safe in your sexual explorations as well with others as with yourself. And it also has this healing aspect, where it's really healing deep layers within you that you might have suppressed without even knowing, but that are coming out in anger or sadness or depression or all these things. So it has many, many aspects, really many aspects that are slowly healed in that process of training yourself, basically. Yeah.
So, okay, I will ask you to do one thing, Jiske. To
Yeah.
finish the sentence, sexual energy is, and you just finish that sentence a lot of times after each other. It doesn't have to make sense.
Okay.
Just from your feeling of whatever arises.
Sexual energy is pure. Sexual energy is innocent. Sexual energy is supercharged and powerful. Sexual energy is everything. It's the world. Everything is created with sexual energy in between the earth and the sky. Sexual energy, there's nothing without it. Sexual energy is who we are. Sexual energy is beautiful. It's powerful.
What's the questions that there could be around sexual energy? So what's the mystery of it, let's say?
I would say the mystery is that we have not been taught or educated how to actually use it for our own good and for the good of the whole, the whole world and those around us. So it has been stuck in mystery and secrets because those that wanted to have power would keep it for them, and also they would misuse it.
Yeah,
So
that was my question.
in a lot of religious context or even like educative context, like the emperor of China would have I don't know how many wives and concubines, so he would keep that energy for him so that he could please all his wives and concubines, but he wouldn't share it, not with them either, because then they would be also more powerful. So it has always been misused and put into the mystery so that people just get confused, because it's in a way it's a very confusing energy if you don't know that it's you. So there's a lot of through society there's a lot of programs of shame, of sex is dirty, you should be ashamed as a woman if you feel wild or you want to, I don't know, go for it, whatever. It's like you have to be a good girl and you have to not feel sexual. It's so many programs, and for the men just the same, but it's a different story, because for men it's almost like, oh, you have to boost being a man. You have to, I don't know, have an erection. I don't know, I'm not a man, but you know what I mean. It's like very, performance driven, and, but that is also horrible for a man, because he needs to perform and do this and that, while actually maybe he just wants to also connect through the heart, right? So there's a lot of stories, I just call them programs in society linked to our sexual energy that are very distorting, very confusing, and it's a shame. I mean, in that sense, yeah.
So what would you wish for me or anybody else who sees this video?
I wish for them to explore, freely explore, and to feel safe in their exploration. So to find others or to find yourself in a situation where you are feeling safe, respected, loved in your explorations, and not as something where you go over your boundary and then, you know, you have to find yourself back there and you're like, whoa, you know, where am I? Like you completely lose yourself. But that you have some sort of a boundary setting in which you know that you can explore and that you can do it in a safe way, so that it's something that is really going to change you in so many ways. It makes you like also like more real, you could say. Like when I look at it in myself, like where I used to be excited about, I'm not excited anymore. I'm just like, yeah, okay, nice. But I really had that part. I really just want to, from my heart, I just want people to understand how free they are, how beautiful they are, how through self-love in so many ways, so many aspects, you don't need to do self-cultivation. It's not, I'm not sitting here like, you have to do that. No. It's like just self-love is a beautiful, I think the whole world needs it. Everyone needs self-love. And if we could fill up that emptiness from within, then everything starts streaming. Then we can meet each other from that fullness. Then I'm not going to sit there like, Laerke, you have to do this for me and do that for me. It will just be like we're sitting now. Like, just super happy to see each other and see what comes out of it and be happy with that. It's a very different connection than I'm going to want you to do this and that.
Yeah, we don't need anything from each other.
No, but also it's easy because we're friends. But imagine that we would have, we're both not into women in that sense, not much, but imagine that we would have an intimate relationship. Then your desires come out. Then all of a sudden, what I'm going to do with somebody else is important to you. Or that I'm seeing you only once a week, that all of a sudden that starts to be a problem. Or I'm not taking you out for dinner, or I'm not treating you right, or I'm not saying this in the right way, or maybe you feel immediately in our intimate relationships, all of this is coming out. Why? Because it's so close to our genitals, it's so close to our heart, it's so close to all that we are, because it's our, you know, our mirror, the one that only has to do this, and we are touched, we are moved, we're, oh my God, you know. So that's why I think that why it's so powerful to do these practices, because it really goes to the core. It's not just another practice. It's like, okay, now we're at the core of who I am.
This is where it all
exactly. Can I face it?
Nice.
Can I just face myself here in a nice, soft, powerful way? It's like everything is softening. Like you do everything with soft eyes, soft ears, inner smile. You go in that eye force, which is like, it's very soft, but because it's so soft, it's extremely powerful. Yeah.
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Iska. Hira.
Hira.
Hira. Oh, that was another Hira. Hira.
Hira.
It's like, hey, Hira.
Yeah.
Come back from the valley now.
We didn't even talk about all the orgasms.
Oh my God.
The
orgasms.
Yeah, you can have, you know, organ, or you can have a liver orgasm, you have a skeleton orgasm, you can have a full body orgasm, you can have a spiritual orgasm, you can have cervix orgasm, you can have womb orgasm. It just goes on and on and on.
Okay,
so
listen,
orgasm,
this is
chakra orgasm.
That's like what, you know, what
we
they
didn't
call
even
like
get to that part
that's
yet.
the cliffhanger of part 2.
Yeah, but if we have enough people wanting it, we'll do another one.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments or wherever else you're gonna let us know if you want part 2. Thank you, sweetheart. Nice. Yeah.
Amazing.